Look at your map. Now, look again. Does it feel complete to you? Because what if I told you that the edges of our world aren't where the ink ends, but where the lies begin? Most of us spend our entire lives believing that every inch of this planet has been indexed, cataloged, and captured by high-resolution satellites. We assume that in the age of information, there are no more blank spaces, but that is exactly what they want you to think. Think about the last time you zoomed into a remote region on a digital map. Did you notice those sudden patches of blurriness? The strange pixelated squares in the middle of a desert, or the jagged lines where the ocean floor suddenly turns into a void? Those aren't glitches. Those are digital scars covering something that doesn't fit the narrative. Why is it that in 2026, with technology that can read a license plate from orbit, there are still thousands of square miles marked as unsurveyed? What is hiding in those pockets of silence? Let's talk about the great silence of the southern latitude. We're told it's just ice and wind, but why is the airspace over certain coordinates in Antarctica more restricted than the White House? Why do commercial flights avoid specific longitudinal lines that would save them thousands of gallons of fuel? The math doesn't add up unless there is something on the ground they are terrified you might see. Imagine a world where the maps we use are just a censorship mask. A world where the 1700s explorers didn't stop because they reached the end of the land, but because they were stopped by something they couldn't explain. We see old maps from centuries ago showing islands and land masses that modern science claims never existed. Are we really more advanced today, or have we just become better at hiding the truth? Consider the strange case of the forbidden zones in the deep Amazon. Satellites show nothing but canopy, yet local legends speak of cities made of material that reflects satellite ping, materials that shouldn't exist according to our current understanding of physics. Every time an independent researcher tries to reach these coordinates, they are met with military training exercises or sudden environmental restrictions. Is it really about protecting the trees, or is it about protecting the secret? And then there are the oceans. We've mapped more of the surface of Mars than our own seabed. Why is the funding for deep-sea exploration so minuscule compared to space? Perhaps because going up into the vacuum of space is safer than going down into the secrets of our own home. There are underwater structures off the coast of Japan and the Bahamas that look suspiciously like power grids, but every time a discovery is made, the site is suddenly classified under national security. Who gave them the right to own the Earth? Who decided that some parts of our home are off limits to the human eyes? The deeper you go into the archives of private explorers, the more you find a recurring theme. The world is much, much larger than we are led to believe. There are records of ghost lands that were documented by multiple captains over decades, only to be scrubbed from official naval charts in the mid-20th century. Why would they delete a mountain? Why would they erase an island? The answer is simple: control. If you knew there was more land, if you knew there were resources that didn't require a global currency, if you knew there was a way to live outside the system, the entire structure of our modern world would collapse overnight. They keep us looking at our screens, looking at our small, curated maps, while the real world sits just beyond the blur, waiting for someone brave enough to ask the right questions, waiting for the day the pixels finally fade away. Look at the horizon. Do you see the curve, or do you see a wall? The truth isn't out there in the stars. It's right here, under the black ink of the maps you trust. It's time to stop looking at the map and start looking at the gaps, because the gaps are where the real story begins. If you ever feel like the world is getting smaller, just remember, they aren't just hiding the land, They are hiding the future. Stay curious, question the blur, and never forget, just because you aren't allowed to see it doesn't mean it isn't there. What do you think is hiding in the pixelated zones of the world? Is it ancient technology or something far more biological? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to dive deeper into the forbidden archives, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because the more we look, the more they can't hide.